New today, a streak of deaths caused by drunk driving leaves the city wanting answers. Can street safety be as simple as knowing your alcohol tolerance? Why aren't bars watching out for this, or are they? Good afternoon, I'm Brandon Bartling.
And I'm Dan Jensen. Thanks for joining us. First, it's a website for inviting complete strangers into your home. Sounds like something from To Catch a Predator, right? You may be surprised. This is the Omaha News.
This is the Omaha News, presented by the School of Communication at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, from the studios of UNO Television.
A website where you invite strangers to spend the night, on the couch that is. People from half a world away are finding free shelter here in the heartland. They say it's a way to fight the troubling cost of travel. It's called couch surfing.
You make a profile online and you invite strangers into your house.
Rachel has been hosting couch surfers with her roommates since August.
We had just been sitting around, talking about it, and the subject came up, and we're just thinking, oh yeah, we should check this out. Why not?
20 surfers later, they met Kian.
I moved to the States 2.5 years ago. I'm from Ireland. I'm driving from Portland to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm moving there. And I didn't know anybody between Denver and Chicago. Omaha was a perfect stop, so I looked up couchsurfing and found these guys.
With over 2.5 million users online, it's easy to find a place to stay. But is it safe?
There's just a level of trust within couchsurfing. You just know.
The way that the reference system works on the profiles is that if you get a negative comment from someone, you can't delete it. It's on there forever.
A level of respect of people's things that you have to uphold so you can trust the person to not, jack your stuff. No, you don't tell them your address right away. You talk to them and you see if, you think you're going to be comfortable with them, and then decide how much information to give them after that.
You can say no. If you get someone request you and you think that or just something doesn't seem right, you can say no.
And the best part for these girls, besides meeting new people,
I've heard a lot of couch surfers say it restores their faith in humanity.
Today, the website has more than 2.5 million members and offers several optional security measures. However, the site will take no responsibility for the actions of its users. In 2009, a couchsurfing host in England allegedly raped a traveler from Hong Kong. That's the only criminal report in the site's 8-year history. If you're interested in finding out more, you can visit couchsurfing.org.
Think those lines at the airport are long? You'd better start bracing now. The Federal Aviation Administration says it expects airline travel to double in the next 20 years. Today, an estimated 737 million individuals fly per year. The FAA predicts that number will reach 1.3 billion by 2031. That's 1/6 of our world's population. The FAA releases a travel forecast every year.
A bill in the Nebraska legislature that would put liquor licenses in the hands of student groups for special events. LB 249 would get around a state law banning alcohol sales within 300 feet of universities. Under the bill, with the school's approval, student groups could sell liquor within that zone. Today, student groups and other organizations have to request a special designated temporary license to sell alcohol at, on, or near campus events.
Several deaths and serious accidents across the heartland, all caused by drunk driving. With new state legislation on the horizon, we take a look at what leads someone to take the wheel when they shouldn't.
Reports on the latest DUIs are starting to sound like a broken record.
It's a major problem, and you could kill somebody.
From the man who killed 4 motorcyclists to the man arrested for his 5th DUI after leaving the court hearing for his 4th.
That is just devastating.
What's to blame? Ignorance?
I had way too much to drink, didn't realize, got in the car, drove off, and car pulled out in front of me, and I hit a curb.
Or is it lack of judgment? Luckily, in Brian's case, nobody was hurt.
And when the cop pulled up, he's like, how's it going? Have you been drinking? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get a DUI tonight.
But how does someone even get to that point? For example, take a look at the different venues downtown. Nearly completed TD Ameritrade Park, and Quest Center, Omaha. Once the game is over at the Quest, some head over to DJ's Dugout across the street.
People are drinking at different events and they're coming in.
Whether fans are celebrating victory or drowning their sorrows of defeat, employees at DJ's are doing what they can to help others know their limits.
We're not just thinking about ourselves as our liquor license and DJ's Dugout, but we're trying to, I'm a human being. I'm trying to think of, the people that are out on the road,
The general manager of DJ's Dugout isn't alone in thinking sporting events are a source of unhealthy drinking. Omaha's Project Extra Mile, a group dedicated to preventing underage drinking, says the city's biggest alcohol issue is the accessibility of beer during the summer's College World Series.
Coming up after the break, a surge in popularity for one local meetup group. A city famous for its steaks is home to a vegan group with almost 200 members. We give you a taste of what it means to be an Omaha vegan.
Plus a new exhibit at the Joslin, ancient as the Egyptian pyramids, gold saints and statues. The Glory of Ukraine exhibit has found a home in New York City and Washington, D.C., now at rest in Omaha. Take a glance at some of the Ukraine's oldest art, and thanks for choosing the Omaha News.
Something wasn't right.
Were they lying to the public?
There was a bigger story here than just a plane crash.
It's become the symbol of everything that's wrong with the industry.
My kid got 6 vaccines in one day and he regressed.
Not only are those children who aren't vaccinated at risk, but those who can't be vaccinated are at risk.
Nobody really knew what was going on. What was it in this market that had to be hidden?
I spent millions of dollars in cash, bribing government officials.
People in power do not like the investigation to come too close to them.
You never hear these stories.
Most local television news only gives you brief headlines about issues that may be important to you. But for more than 10 years, only one program has remained dedicated to examining all the information about issues that really matter to Nebraskans. I'm Kathy Wyatt, and it's my privilege to present those issues for your consideration. Join me on the campus of UNO in a program we call Consider This, every week on NET1.
UNO Television.
Students work with professionals who have all kinds of experience in the industry.
Lights, camera, action. Literally.
Get paid while you learn more about the TV business.
Work on all kinds of productions.
My friends who worked on TV Crew last semester are now working part-time at local stations.
Working on TV Crew is a great experience.
UNO Television. Student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
Hi, and welcome back to the Omaha News.
Today, nearly 6% of all Americans identify as vegetarians. About 1% identify as vegans.
Veganism is a diet that cuts out all animal products. That makes things some of us think of as staples, like honey and eggs, off limits. Think it would make cooking difficult? Imagine eating out. Reporter Ian Edgington went to check out an Omaha meetup group that tries to tackle that problem head-on.
Companies like Omaha Steaks, and even sports teams with things like the Omaha Beef. We're a town that's heavy on the meat and gravy, not the potatoes. But one Metro meetup group is looking for something a little different.
Vegans in Omaha have a new way to find each other thanks to social media.
When I started, it was 2 people and me, so...
John McDovid started a meetup.com group for Omaha vegans to talk about and visit local restaurants. What started small has now grown to a group of 193 members.
Just within the last 2 months, I started an actual website that links to a Facebook and a Twitter and the meetup site.
Omaha now has about 30 vegan-friendly restaurants. Some offer a completely vegan menu, and others offer vegan versions of traditional food.
Say you go for pizza, you have to make sure the pizza has no dairy in it.
Vegans in Omaha are getting more options than just salad and tofu, thanks to local restaurants expanding their menus. But a vegan diet has more issues to keep in mind besides where to eat. Health pros and cons exist.
They tend to, for some people, be lower in calories. They can be lower in things like total saturated fat.
Eating greens promotes weight loss, helps reduce risk of heart disease, and can help protect against cancer. But removing meat and dairy means a loss of some vitamins.
So they do have to supplement most definitely with iron and B12, as well as calcium.
Thanks to websites like veganomaha.com, vegans can get support and make sure they're getting a balanced diet.
People interested in going on a vegan diet should tell their doctor so they can be properly screened during checkups. For more information on local vegans, go to veganomaha.com for helpful tips and a list of vegan-friendly restaurants. Back to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Ian. Get ready to waste the Wonder Bread and reach for the whole grains. A new government study says a diet rich in fiber reduces the risk of dying at an early age. The study, funded by the National Cancer Institute, found fiber reduces the risk of heart disease, pneumonia, and even cancer. Researchers warn it's important to consider where the fiber is coming from, though. They say fiber from vegetables, fruits, and beans seem to offer no protection at all. Your best bet is to go with the whole grain wheat products like bread and pasta.
It's a cultural treasure trove from halfway around the world. From now until May, the Joslin Art Museum is home to an ancient culture. It's an exhibit called The Glory of Ukraine. Anthony Davis paints the picture.
A sliver of history, a window, a portrait back through the ages. Visitors at the Joslin Art Museum were treated to a new exhibit, Glory to the Ukraine, on Saturday.
I really like the jewelry pieces. There's a lot of really cool detail in the gold jewelry pieces that they have here so far.
Many of the exhibits featured here at the Glory of the Ukraine are thousands of years old, older than Stonehenge or the Great Pyramids in Egypt. The works and icons on display date as far back as the 4th century BC, when much of Central Europe was heavily influenced by Greek culture.
What's interesting in the exhibition is that you'll see all of these influences. You'll see Greek and Roman influences. You'll see things that display contact with China.
The art may be old, but for some, they bring up very vivid memories.
And a lot of it has the gold embellishment everywhere, and the paintings, the religious paintings that I see in the other room over here. So a lot of this is bringing back memories from when I went to Ukraine.
For those interested in the Glory to the Ukraine exhibit, it will be available at the Joslin Art Museum until May 8th. For the Omaha News, I'm Anthony Davis.
The Glory of the Ukraine exhibit is featured in 2 presentations. The first concentrates on more recent pieces of art like religious icons from the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. The second features much older pieces from thousands of years ago.
Can video games be art? One of the world's largest art museums is taking a stance on that very question. In 2012, the Smithsonian American Art Museum will host an entire exhibition dedicated to gaming. The Smithsonian is even looking for input from gamers. From now until April 7th, you can vote for what you want to see represented in the exhibit. They've got everything from Mega Man to Call of Duty Black Ops at artofvideogames.org.
Sprained ankles, concussions, torn muscles, and broken bones. Sports can take a toll on a body, no matter how carefully an athlete has been training. We take an inside look at the long road to a healthy recovery. All this and more in sports.
After the break, snow and sleet can't stop these cyclists. Maybe you've seen them on the roads. Heartland bikers have been keeping their feet firmly on the pedals all through our icy winter and slick streets. You don't want to miss this. You're watching the Omaha News.
Something new or reach beyond.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
When you want to peer inside, there's something wrong here. This isn't normal. It would seem almost impossible or push the limit.
Large tornado, it's humongous.
dive deep.
These divers are like astronauts.
Our human nature is to push into places that we don't know about.
Or go to the edge.
There are other worlds out there.
We don't know exactly what we're going to find.
When you want to find new frontiers.
I was truly astonished.
You just don't ever know.
Nova.
Wednesdays on NET1. Breathtaking. Electrifying. Inspiring. Award-winning documentaries produced by UNO Television offer you a window on the history of Omaha and the world. Beginning with the acclaimed 2-hour documentary on the history of Omaha, If These Walls Could Speak, UNO Television has developed a reputation for producing high-quality programs that explore, educate, and enlighten. These outstanding productions can be part of your home video collection. For information about purchasing VHS or DVD copies, call 554-2516 or visit our website at unotv.unomaha.edu.
You're watching the Omaha News.
Biking isn't bad when it feels like spring, and across the metro with wonderful weather like this, you may be seeing a lot of it. But some cyclists have been riding all through winter. Welcome back to the Omaha News. I'm Brandon Bartling.
And I'm Dan Jensen. Bitter cold wind and inches of snow on the ground haven't bothered some Omaha cyclists. For some, it's a way of staying fit. For others, a way of staying warm. Brandy Rollins shows what keeps bikers out in the winter and how you can overcome the cold.
It seems like more bike riders are hitting the streets and winter hasn't stopped them.
I think over the past 2 years, the biking population has kind of diversified and expanded, and I think that's due to the visible signs of bikes being okay on the street.
Activate Omaha and Omaha Bikes have been working to get people active year-round.
Beginning of the season back in November or so, and we had 4 or 5 different people teaching, and we probably had 40 people show up at that event.
Riding your bike in the wintertime may sound difficult, but there's only a few extra steps you need to take.
You really should think about what to do with your bike, what to do with your clothing, and maybe think about your route a little more carefully. And then on the bike, it often helps out to have fenders. Also, a great thing is studded tires. It's almost just like riding on dry pavement.
Overall, it's mind over matter.
You get on your bike, it's definitely a mental thing to put yourself in the cold, but once you start going, you're warm. That was my way of getting out of the cold.
For the Omaha News, I'm Brandy Rollins.
Like any winter sport, when it comes to cold weather biking, safety is always important to keep in mind. If you're planning on hitting the streets, make sure you wear plenty of warm clothing and protective padding. The National Safety Council also advises that you carry a cell phone in case you get hit.
With us now is Brandy Rollins, who just shared that package on winter biking with us. Thanks for coming up here, Brandy. Well, first off, how do you prepare your bike for riding in the winter?
Well, it's a great idea to have studded tires. It cuts through the ice, it makes it feel like dry pavement. And it's also another great idea to have fenders.
Okay. Why is this catching on now of all times?
It's catching on because Activate Omaha has been really pushing it with classes, getting people aware. A lot of people didn't know beforehand how easy and accessible winter bike riding can be.
What surprised you most when you covered this story?
I would say that really it's not that expensive. It seems like it, but if you really put your mind to it, it's not that hard. And also to beat the winter, I never thought of it that way before. It's a great idea.
All right, well, again, thank you so much for coming up here.
You're welcome.
Brandy Rollins. And if you'd like any more information on winter cycling, you can visit icebike.org, allweathersports.com/winter, or bikewinter.org.
Any athlete can tell you that injuries are close to unavoidable. What starts as pushing too hard or pumping more iron than you can handle always ends at the same place, the beginning of the road to recovery. Trevor Malden shows us athletic rehabilitation in action.
Dealing with injuries is part of being an athlete. Brian Shepard continues to better himself by going to treatment for his turf toe.
I've been going to treatment every day
It consists of me getting to the whirlpool, which helps with swelling and pain while using the cold whirlpool. But he also uses the warm whirlpool to loosen up the muscles. Whenever I walk around, it's a lot better now because I'm not on it as much as I was during the football season, but it still can be painful whenever I'm on my toes every day. Brian Shepard knows the importance of rehabbing his injuries and goes to treatment at least 2 times a day.
You know, a lot of it's preventative type things, you know, doing just lots of stretching, flexibility, strengthening, you know, weakened areas that we see.
I go to the whirlpool at least twice a day sometimes, at least once. When I go in there, I'm in the whirlpool, in the cold whirlpool with ice in it for at least 10 minutes. And then sometimes I may switch it back to 5 minutes in the heat, which then relaxes it and allows my muscle to loosen up more than it usually is. After workouts, I tend to like to go put ice on it to get in the whirlpool again. I try to get as much treatment on it as I can, so I'll be able to stay healthy and not have to worry about walking on my heels anymore. Rehabilitation is a big part of the process in becoming a better athlete. For the Omaha News, I'm Trevor Malden.
Depending on the athletic injury, rehab can take anywhere from several weeks to several months. Officials at athleticrehab.com say the key to good physical therapy is doing it often and varying your exercise each time.
The Egyptian revolution inspires protests across the Middle East. Violence in Iran's capital. Plus, the Colombian Navy seizes a submarine built for smuggling thousands of pounds of cocaine to Mexico. Coming up after the break, we've got all the international news you need to know.
A mass case of food poisoning across 9 schools on Japan's Hokkaido Island. Almost 1,000 students and faculty fall ill. All this after the break. Thanks for choosing the Omaha News.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is where you'll find unlimited possibilities in academic, campus, and community life. Step up to the Metropolitan Advantage at bmf.com.
Face of America is about the diversity of our country. We're the only nation in the world consisting entirely of immigrants. Even the Native Americans were immigrants 16,000 years ago. I wanted to show that not only were we a country of migrants, but we could measure that degree of migrancy through people's DNA. We have 12 people representing the diversity that is at the heart of the greatness of the American people.
I find it fascinating to know where people are from, why they speak their language, what was their history. And I think it's important to know where you've been to know where you're going.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the greatest documents I've ever seen.
He's one of the founding fathers.
Oh my God!
My dad hadn't talked much about my maternal grandfather, so it was really interesting to see the path that, his dad took to come to America and really forge a life for all of us.
Now this is what an officer said about your grandfather. He is unquestionably the company's best soldier in the New York Times.
Yeah. I knew he was a special man.
Faces of America is my 10th documentary. I'm living a dream, and that dream was born in my living room in West Virginia watching PBS.
Watch online anytime at pbs.org.
I'm Ray Suarez for in-depth coverage of the global events that affect your life, as well as complete coverage of top domestic news. Tune into the new PBS NewsHour.
Weeknights at 9 Central Time on NET2.
Protests in central Tehran, the capital city of Iran. So far, 2 have died and more have been injured as protesters and security clash. President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has vowed to punish the protest organizers on state television. Thousands have gathered in Tehran's Uzadi Square in solidarity with the Tunisian and Egyptian uprisings. President Ahmadinejad had recently praised the Egyptian revolution on state television before Iran's protests began.
Chances are these students aren't faking it. More than 950 Japanese school children have fallen ill this week. Officials say they suspect food poisoning, specifically salmonella, is to blame. 13 of the students have symptoms so severe they needed to be hospitalized. 48 of the teachers and faculty reported symptoms as well. Hokkaido Island, the location of the outbreak, functions with one central kitchen that delivers food to many schools every day. The affected schools will remain closed through the end of the week.
The Colombian Navy says it has seized the most sophisticated homemade submarine it has ever seen. Its purpose, trafficking thousands of pounds of cocaine from Colombia to Mexico. Officials say the submarine is only built to travel up to 30 feet below the water. The vessel can carry 4 passengers and up to 8 tons of cargo. The submarine's worth is estimated at nearly $2 million.
Melting snow and a high in the 60s is something we can all smile about. Megan Bird shares a sunny day.
Spring is in the air, but is it too soon to put away the shovels and start the car washing? Not to these clean car patrons. And with the high of 65 degrees this week, how can one not take advantage of getting their dirt, grime, and salt off our cars?
Absolutely.
Love
Make
it.
So much great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual to see that thing up there, so.
Yeah, gotta take advantage of it.
With all the mounds of snow around the city melting into streets, some are wondering what's the city's plans to fix our roadways. On Valentine's Day, the City of Omaha's Public Works Department will begin working 6 days a week for the next month, repairing the potholes caused by last month's winter storm. What about those who aren't doing much driving today and taking advantage of the sun outside?
Yeah, we work over at First National Bank, so whenever we can get out, we try to get out.
Trying to hit 2 miles in a half hour to kill 130 calories.
Like these two women, getting a little sunshine and exercise over their lunch break is just what the doctor ordered.
With all the sunshine and beautiful weather, it's hard not to be outside on a day like today. But on February 15th, that's pretty different for us here in Nebraska. For the Omaha News, I'm Megan Bird.
Don't get too used to the short sleeves. Come President's Day, we'll be back down into the 40s.
Thanks again for choosing the Omaha News. We'll be back here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Until then, we want to know what you think. Visit our new website at theomahanews.com or find us on Facebook. You can get an inside look at how our reporters found their stories.
And find more stories that our reporters covered. Have news tips, story ideas, or just want to let us know what you think? Email us at youromahanews@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
From all of us here at UNO Television, have a good night.
Hi, I'm Meshach Taylor, actor and public television supporter, encouraging you to become a fan of UNO Television. Located on the University of Nebraska at Omaha campus, UNO Television is a unit of the College of Communication, Fine Arts, and Media. Student crew members are trained and placed in broadcasting positions that give them real-world experience. Many students move seamlessly into jobs within the local television market. UNO Television, student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
This is what we cover
on Need to Know.
This isn't just a Mexican problem. This is a joint problem.
The idea that the future could be better than the present.
I'm humming my own discontent.
I've been mocked because I'm a, quote, creationist.
This is not a boom or bust industry. This is a renewable resource.
Your job as an investigative reporter is to get information to people who need it.
This is an extraordinary event that calls for extraordinary measures.
Friday night at 8:30 Central Time on NET1.
Big week this week. The president has really come around.
I've got 2 sound bites.
Okay, so Alexis will talk about what?
I think Tim Kaine was talking about.
But the point is that they've been pulling their punches. I mean,
the whole politics of what's going on in Washington right now.
But what other words we want? Let's just start with what we saw was playing out in front of
Illustrated.
Our eyes was the exact opposite.
Oh yeah, I got to get that done.
Right. Washington.
What time's Dad is coming?
Friday night at 8 Central Time on NET1.